That sound, that delicate, crinkly rustle. It's the universal soundtrack of a paper gown that was apparently designed by an origami expert with a mean streak. Medical science is a modern miracle, folks. But waiting rooms, icy stethoscopes, and the phrase, "you might feel a little discomfort," remain some of the greatest tests of human endurance. Today, we're looking at what history's sharpest wits had to say about the realities of visiting the doctor. Because before you even sit on that paper-covered table, there's one warning sign you need to look out for. Now, choosing a physician is a deeply personal matter. You look at their credentials, their bedside manner, maybe where they went to school. But the great American humorist Erma Bombeck had a much simpler, far more practical screening process. Never go to a doctor whose office plants have died. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? If they can't keep a ficus alive with water and sunshine, maybe they shouldn't be in charge of my cholesterol. But even if you find a doctor with a green thumb, communication is always the tricky part. You sit there trying to describe a mysterious ache that only happens on Tuesdays when it rains, and you realize how difficult a doctor's job really is. Will Rogers understood this perfectly. The best doctor in the world is the veterinarian. He can't ask his patients what is the matter, he's got to just know. Will had a point. I sometimes wonder if I'd get a faster diagnosis if I just walked in, barked twice, and pointed a paw at my left knee. But eventually, your name is called. You do the slow march from the waiting room to the exam room. You put on the paper gown, which somehow manages to be drafty in the winter and sticky in the summer. And as you sit there, waiting for the doorknob to turn, a little thought might creep into your head. A thought perfectly captured by the comedian George Carlin. Somewhere in the world is the world's worst doctor, and someone has an appointment with him tomorrow morning. It's true. Someone has to graduate at the bottom of the class, and frankly, I just hope he decided to go into medical research instead of orthopedics. But let's say you get a good one. The doctor comes in, pokes, prods, taps your knee with a little rubber hammer, and prescribes a course of action. What are they actually doing? Well, the French philosopher Voltaire had a rather cynical, but perhaps accurate, view of the process way back in the 1700s. The art of medicine consists of amusing the patient while nature cures the disease. Amusing the patient. That certainly explains the stack of 5-year-old magazines in the waiting area. Just read this 2019 issue of Golf Digest until your immune system figures things out. Of course, nowadays, we don't just rely on nature. We go home and we read. We read pamphlets. We read medical websites. We read the tiny print on the back of the vitamin bottle. Mark Twain had some excellent advice about this habit. Be careful about reading health books. You may die of a misprint. I try to avoid the medical internet entirely. If you look up a mildly sore throat online, within 3 clicks you'll be convinced you've contracted a rare Victorian naval disease. So we follow the doctor's actual orders. We try to eat better. We cut back on the salt, the sugar, the fun. But Johnny Carson reminded us that there is a limit to how much health a person can actually tolerate. I know a man who gave up smoking, drinking, sex, and rich food. He was healthy right up to the day he killed himself. Balance, folks. It's all about balance. If my doctor tells me I can't have a slice of pie on Thanksgiving, I'm getting a second opinion from a baker. But eventually, the visit ends. You survived the waiting room, you survived the icy stethoscope, you survived the lifestyle lecture. Now comes the real procedure, the checkout desk. Over 100 years ago, the humorist Finley Peter Dunne pointed out a medical mystery that still hasn't been solved. I wonder why you can always read a doctor's bill and you can never read his prescription. Isn't it remarkable? The prescription looks like a spider fell into an inkwell and had a seizure on a notepad. But the amount you owe? Printed in bold, 14-point Arial font, clear as a bell. It brings us back to a truth recognized by none other than Benjamin Franklin, a man who invented bifocals, probably so he could read his own invoices. God heals, and the doctor takes the fees. Ben was a practical man, but jokes aside, we complain because we care, and we complain because we're grateful. Every time we walk out of that office, clutching an unreadable prescription and a perfectly legible bill, we get to keep living this wonderful, messy, slightly achy life for another day. And that's worth putting up with the paper gowns. Tell me down in the comments, who got it right today? Was it Erma Bombeck and her dead office plants? Or Finley Peter Dunne with the mysterious doctor's handwriting? Let me know. I'm Walter, and I'll see you next time.